Okay, are we ready to get started, Maria?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Hi everyone. Welcome to our first event for the Week of Gratitude. I'm so happy that you all decided to join us for this panel on cross-cultural expressions of gratitude. My name is Marie Hensinger, and I'm honored to serve as the moderator for this discussion. And I have a little introduction. So I wanted to talk about gratitude is a universal experience, yet how we express it can vary widely across cultures, whether through words, gestures, rituals, or traditions. These expressions of thanks shape our relationships, strengthen communities, and reflect deeply held values. Today, our panelists, students and staff from diverse backgrounds, will share their perspectives on how gratitude is conveyed in their cultures. Throughout our conversation, we'll explore how gratitude is expressed verbally and non-verbally, the role of traditions and rituals, generational differences, the influence of religion or spirituality, and we'll also discuss how exposure to other cultures may have shaped personal expressions of gratitude and how misunderstandings in expressing thanks can arise and be navigated. So please listen with curiosity, reflect on your own experiences, and consider how gratitude connects us all. Everyone will introduce themselves and answer the first question. And I'm going to pick on our dear Karen Villalobos from our economics department first. So Karen, how is gratitude typically expressed in your culture, both verbally and non-verbally?
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Villalobos, economics professor at Chandler-Gilbert, and I am a Mexican from Mexican descent. So I am going to talk a little bit about my Mexican traditions for gratitude. In Mexico and the Mexican culture, the most common thing is to actually say it out loud, gracias, which means thank you. But it's also a social contract of sorts that we need to express our gratitude towards this lifelong relationship. So gratitude is not just saying it out loud, but demonstrate with future acts of service and perpetuate these relationships for the longer term. And in addition to that, Mexican culture has a long, very deep rooted Catholicism for the religion. So gratitude often takes the shape of being grateful to the deity or saints. And that's another whole different expression of gratitude that takes the form of art or even music when it comes to giving thanks to the deity. I'm happy to explain more, but I'm sure other panelists will like to give their introductions.
Thank you so much, Karen. So I'm going to pose the same question to you, Roja. How's gratitude typically expressed in your culture, verbally and non-verbally? And if you could also please introduce yourself briefly to us.
Hi everyone, thank you Mari, and thank you everyone for attending. I am Roja Najafi. I teach art history at our college, and I am Iranian American. I mean, in Iranian culture, gratitude is deeply ingrained in daily life, and it is often expressed through verbal acknowledgments of, thank you. We use generally an Arabic word, mutshakkaram, but conjugated in Farsi, as the culture itself is very multi-layered. We also very much another expression that is very rare is دستت درد نکنه, which means may your hands not be hurt, which is usually you say that after someone has done you, given you help or have, you have received some form of favor. Traditionally, in Iranian culture, it is also very much gratitude is expressed through hospitality and offering food, tea, fruits, and sweets, and accompanying with by heartfelt blessings for the person who you are giving these or offering these sweets and fruits. So usually you have that when you have encounters, especially if you are going to someone's house or even someone's office. I want to also say my personal experience of gratitude is, I don't want to speak for the whole, Iranian community, but my personal experience of gratitude is really embedded in as a form of awareness. You can look at it religiously or spiritually, but a form of awareness that we are part of a bigger world and bigger, sphere. And it's a very central practice that whether you have pleasure or unpleasant experiences, that sense of gratitude comes out. So it's that in that form, it's neither verbal or through acts, right? It is really more internal experience. And I'm going to pass it back to you.
Hey, thank you so much. And then I'm going to pass it to one of our students, Nikita, who is from South Africa. Nikita, would you like to introduce yourself and also answer the first question? How is gratitude typically expressed in your culture, both verbally and non-verbally?
Yeah. Hey, good morning or afternoon, everyone. I'm Nikita, an international student, as she said, from South Africa. And so South Africans, I like to think that we're very affectionate and we like to express a lot. So some verbal ways is forming known through respect. Respect is a big value for us. So when you're expressing gratitude, usually you would do it in the local language. So we have 11 national languages, and that can get a little tricky sometimes. But so whoever the culture is that you're talking to, whether it's an English person, you'd say thank you, or if it's a higher figure and say Nade Zulu, you'd say Ngiyabonga sir. So you'd always refer to that title of respect at the end, like sir or ma'am. So respect plays a lot into gratitude also. Nonverbals are very loud also. We love our handshakes. They're a huge gesture of respect. And there's a small sense of gift giving. We love our food also. So when somebody comes to you, if you help them with a project at work or you just had a really tough week or whatnot, and they helped you with something, a way that you say thank you is you would make something for them, whether it was banana bread or like your grandma's recipe of cookies. It here in the States, I feel like for me now where I'm at, I feel like it's such a big, oh my gosh, I have to go bake cookies now. So like I'll just go buy some cookies and give it to somebody. But if I were to just buy cookies and bring it to you, it would almost be an insult in my culture. You would make something at home, and that the fact that you took the time and you thought about me and made something for me, it's very typical in South Africa. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much, Nikita. And we have another student who's joined us, Annalise. Annalise, would you like to introduce yourself and answer how is gratitude typically expressed in your culture, both verbally and non-verbally?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Annalisa. This is my second semester here. I'm studying speech and hearing science. And gratitude, I am here explaining how gratitude is shared in my family mostly. I'm a family of four, my mom and dad, and then my sister and I. Um, Mostly through cooking. My dad loves to cook. He cooks pretty much every culture, every cultural food. So definitely, pasta, soups, and stuff. And my mom and I, we share little gifts to each other. Um, and my sister definitely hugs. She loves hugs, and yeah. So pretty simple, but we just love the little things count in my family.
Thank you so much. And it's Annalisa, not Annalise.
Lisa.
Annalisa.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you for
Good.
your
Thank you.
introduction. All right, great. And then just checking, I don't see him online, but is Fabio here? Just in case he called in. Okay, all right. Then we will move on to our next question. And I'm going to ask Nikita. Nikita, have your personal expressions of gratitude changed after exposure to other cultures?
That's a good question. I feel like once I came to America and was opened up to a whole bunch of different cultures, I almost had a little bit of culture shock, not knowing how to express gratitude. Some of it, especially during COVID, made me feel like all the hugs, all the like food and stuff that was too much. So I would tone it down, for lack of better words. And I didn't quite know how to share, like, I am so grateful for you and what you did. But I used what we consider our Ubuntu. It's like a Ubuntu philosophy, and it's like a everyday ritual that we practice. And like it's the form of saying thank you. It's like, I am because you are. That's, I don't know how to express it better in English. That's what it means typically. And so my thank yous would be like that. I would share it with my friends, and they thought it was super cool. So now over the last 6 years of being in the United States, I've become more accustomed to expressing the South African culture, or become more comfortable with that. So yeah, to wrap it up, like in the beginning, I kind of felt like I had to tone it down because I didn't know how to express it, since everybody received it differently. But now after all these years, I'm like, wait, this is actually how I do it. Can I show you how to show you gratitude from where I'm at? And people appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think people would totally appreciate, learning about different cultures, especially one that, you've lived so long and immersed yourself in. I love that. I am because you are. Did I get that right? That's beautiful. I think to me that means that I can exist because of the love of my community and the social support that everyone has provided me. So I think that's such a beautiful saying. Rosha, may I ask you the same question? Have your personal expressions of gratitude changed after exposure to other cultures?
Well, yes, because dasta that nakone, may your hands not be hurt, is a very, very strange saying. There is also like a big form of like part of, I think, this culture of gratitude in Iranian culture is this concept of tarov, which is a form of social etiquette, and it is, very elaborate, sort of dance and going back and forth in offering and declining offers in out of politeness, basically. And that I feel when I moved here for my studies, that does not work very well And it is very confusing for many people, like, right? If you actually go based on the a set of protocol of please have some, if you're offering them something, and if they accept because they actually think you mean it, and you think, oh, that is rude. So I feel like this, for outsider might mistake this either as insistent generosity or unnecessary formality, and it again, in a professional setting or in collegial setting, it doesn't necessarily work very well. So that is one part that you're I feel I have changed to be more straightforward, and omit so many of the lingering around it. In also other professional settings, very, in meetings, if you start by, so not only, hi, how are you, how was, how was your day, but also an elongated version of this, it sort of is not practical. But and if you are doing business or negotiating, it doesn't come out as very professional in across many cultures, especially cultures that don't have that dance around this form of politeness. But of course, if in a more sincere, very straightforward expresses of gratitude, that has not changed. A thank you is a thank you, basically.
Right, that's fascinating. So, just so I'm hearing you correctly, Roja, you're saying that in the Iranian culture, it's polite to offer, and then it's polite to refuse.
Yes, it is expected that you will refuse a couple of times.
It's expected that you'll refuse.
Yeah, you have to then like, here, do you want some tea? And you will say, no, I'm here to see you. But,
Gotcha.
right? Even if you're invited for tea.
I'm not here for the tea, I'm here for you. That's what you're trying to tell your guests.
And then, and if you say, yeah, sure, I will have some tea and cookies, that would be a little bit too
presumptuous. Yeah, okay. Good to know. Good to know. So if you ever offer me tea and cookies, I should always say no the first time.
No, you don't do that, because now it's 20
No,
years.
You've adapted. You've adapted
Yeah,
now.
no, but I think you should accept, and the cultures adopt, right? So I feel like usually if you're with with very in a very traditional situation, if even today I may feel they are too pushy. If they are, if I accept they are truly kind, and this is not just the etiquette step, I would, they will put food in your plate if you don't pick it up. So it might come across as this is too much. But yeah, please, if I offer you tea, which I usually I haven't, but not out of impoliteness, but because we cross each other and we don't usually meet often. But yes, if I offer you tea and cookies, please accept, any one of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the clarification. Okay, and I'm going to ask Karen, same question. Have your personal expressions of gratitude changed after exposure to other cultures?
Well, I guess for the geographic location, for me, it hasn't been so much of a cultural shock. We are very close to Mexico, and there's a lot of Hispanic population in the area. So it's not that big of a transposition, I will say. But echoing what Nikita said about toning down, I felt it too. In Mexico, there's a lot of hugging, hand holding, even kissing, like kissing the cheek. So it's something that it will not be very well received here, or you will do it just with the most like the closest of your acquaintances, not just because. And moreover, another thing that I've noticed is very common for me, for my family, aunts, uncles, say something along the lines of religion when giving thanks, saying things like, "May God bless you," or "May God give you tenfold," in saying thanks for what you did for me. And being in this culture of a more um, religious diversity also might be a little bit of a touchy subject. So, like again, like Nikita said, is not exactly a shock, but a tone it down situation.
Thank you. And Elisa, I'm going to ask you the same question. How have your personal expressions of gratitude changed after exposure to other cultures?
Okay. So I haven't really traveled as much. I've only been to the surrounding states, but I have noticed some changes here. One example is with my grandparents. We visited them after not seeing them for multiple years. And they usually don't say "I love you" in words. They usually show it through actions. But it was surprising, um, not really a misunderstanding, but more of a surprise when they did say the words "I love you" to my sister and I. And it also surprised my mom, which that those are her parents. So that was really sweet. That's one main example I have.
That's really beautiful. And I'm just curious, and I'm kind of going off script here, but my 4-year-old daughter just had her birthday, and we had a party, and she was blessed with lots of gifts, and I together, since she's only 4 and can't write yet, we wrote thank you notes to all of her party guests, and I'm just curious, how is handwritten notes a expression of gratitude in your culture, and one that's still practiced? Because I've noticed that practice of handwritten notes has kind of gone by the wayside in modern times. So do you still practice handwritten notes of gratitude?
Yes, actually, especially birthday cards. Like that's a huge thing in my family. Every birthday we write a handwritten card. So yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. How about our other panelists, Karen?
When it comes to like thank you notes for birthdays or Christmas presents or things like that, that's not very big in Mexican culture. However, you're expected to be seen either with playing with the toy, like you said, your 4-year-old daughter. I will expect her to see her playing with the toy I brought her, or the shirt that I gave her. So you will show that you are actually using, wearing, playing, eating, whatever it is that you presented them with. I guess an exception for this will be the grand gesture of public gratitude will be when you want to make it public and you buy a big display on the newspaper. Well, I'm sorry to begin with, we're not big in newspapers anymore, but in the olden times, the actual newspaper passing the page and everything, it was a big display indicating that you were grateful to this institution, this person, because they help you with such and such.
That's cool. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, right? The biggest compliment to the chef is an empty plate, right? Or, so you want to, I love that, being seen playing with the toy, using the toy, using the goodies or whatever is bestowed upon you. That's also a beautiful gesture of thanks, I think. So very cool. And then Rosha, thoughts on thank you notes?
Well, my family still does it, but they are also not the norm. So, like, when we visit someone's house, we also send them a card. So we write, and that card writing is very very important, and in some degree, I feel like it is probably very much in the line of you bake your own cookies, like that handwritten note and like a thoughtful card for any occasion. And we are, it's a Iranian culture is very poetic, so usually, citing poetical sightings is also important. So yes, we still do that, and it's a big part of, I mean, in my family, it's a big part. These days, I think mostly texting. So the text is expected, basically. You have to like, yo, it was great to see you tonight. Now we might have all gone to a movie. But still, that is very expected.
That makes a lot of sense. I think thank you texts and calls have probably replaced a lot of that formality of the snail mail. I'm probably one of the only ones buying stamps at the post office still with my snail mail. Nikita, how about you in South Africa? Are thank you notes still big there?
No, actually very similar to how Karen was expressing in her culture. We don't do thank you notes. I think mostly because our postal services are not reliable. But yeah, South Africans aren't big in writing letters to one another. They do, however, it's the same thing. If I were to buy somebody a t-shirt, which for Christmas I bought somebody a t-shirt and I saw them this weekend and they were wearing it. And I was thinking about it this morning on the way to work. That sense of like wearing or using the gifts, like the next time you see them, it's like, oh my gosh, I did so good. Like, oh my goodness, they love it. That's, to me, because of how I've grown up, it's more, I appreciate that more than like if you were to write me a note, because I can see that you're loving what I've given you.
That's beautiful. Well, you're reorienting my thinking on thank you notes after.
No, I love thank you notes too. I came across them with my first host family as an au pair, and the kids were sitting there writing like 34 letters out. But it was adorable. They're cute. When they're coming from kids, they're so freaking cute.
That's true. That's true. And then Miriam put in the chat that she was surprised by receiving a thank you note after attending a baby shower, since it's not common in her culture. So, you never know, right? Well, everyone does it a little bit differently, so it's kind of cool to learn about other customs and traditions. Okay, so I think I want to get back on script now. I'm going to ask you my third question, and I'm going to direct this one at Nikita. Have you ever experienced misunderstandings when expressing or receiving gratitude in a different cultural context, and how did you navigate that?
So this question have brought up like lots of funny stories. It's funny little things. So in South Africa, one of our common ways to just celebrate life is to have a braai. It's basically the South African version of a barbecue. However, it's much more like involved. Everybody's outside, everybody's around the grill, the kids out playing, everybody bought something anyway, it's very involved. So this happened a couple of times here in the United States. I went to a friend's house for a dinner or like a celebration, and afterwards I picked up the plates and I took it to the kitchen. Some moms loved it, but I took it to the kitchen and I started doing the dishes. And my friend got insulted that I was picking up after everyone. And I'm like, where I come from, if I don't do that, it's like rude. It's considered rude. So it's ingrained into us to help clean up, especially if you were hosting a party. Everybody was going to come and help you do the dishes. If you cook, you're not doing the dishes. So that was funny. It's challenging to navigate it at that time, depending on the relationship. So over time, it's been weird. Like, am I allowed to pick up my plate? Am I allowed to do this? It's kind of tricky to navigate. The second big go around was when you're going to a friend's house, and you greet the parents or you greet like the host parents before you leave. in South Africa, when you come or go from somebody's home, you go into the rooms and you go greet the people. When you arrive, ask them how they are, how their day, have that little small talk. And when you leave, you have to go say goodbye and thank you for having you. And here my friend's like, where are you going? What are you doing? You know? So it seemed almost unnecessary and weird, which made me feel like I was disrespecting them a lot. So even after all these years, it's very uncomfortable for me to be like, okay, bye. On the inside, I'm cringing, and I'm like, my mom would be so mad. But yeah, that still takes some getting used to.
Yeah, the drawn out goodbye. I know that well. Whenever trying to leave a party, it always takes an extra 45 minutes after you know, do the rounds. Yeah, I have noticed that it's become a lot less formal, that people will just be like, I'm heading out, see you later, and run out the door. So that's really interesting. The whole cleaning up after yourself, that's fascinating too, because typically I would expect, you know, and I grew up here in the United States, I would expect that only my close friends or family, my very close friends and family, would offer to do that. Any random party guest, I would absolutely refuse to let them help. So that's, but I wouldn't be mad about it. I'll say that. I wouldn't be mad about it. I'd be like, oh, that's very sweet. Okay, I'm going to ask the same question to Annalisa. Annalisa, have you ever experienced misunderstandings when expressing or receiving gratitude in a different cultural context? And how did you navigate that?
I don't think I have actually experienced a misunderstanding, but going off kind of what Nikita said, sometimes my family hosts, you know, family or friends, and we usually always know when to leave, and my host always know when to leave the house. So we never really had any problems with that, and we are usually careful with who we bring into the house as well. So I think that's pretty much all I can give for that question.
Fair enough. Thank you. And Karen, how about you? Have you ever experienced misunderstandings when expressing or receiving gratitude in a different cultural context? And how did you navigate that?
Actually, no, I have not. Thankfully, I have not. Uh, but I like what Nikita said. I'm going to start asking my kids that if I cook, they will do the dishes. So that's starting today.
Oh, yes. I love this for you. That's beautiful. And then we have Michaela in the chat says that she's also from the United States, but she often does what Nikita does and gets all sorts of reactions. Yeah, probably just shocked at how polite you are, I'm sure. And then Roja, have you ever experienced a misunderstanding when expressing or receiving gratitude in a different cultural context?
No, I mean, I don't think I misunderstood them, but I do think that it is, you know, culturally we are expected to be involved in cleaning up after ourselves, you know, all of the small talk and what everyone else said. That is very, and part of the Tarov makes the little goodbye and going to from the moment you stand up to leave someone's house to by the time that you are in your car, that will take about 25 minutes because it's just like, you know, please stay longer. Thank you so much for this. Please take some food, like all of those steps. And then, you know, there are a couple of stages of goodbye. And my dad always joked that a sitting guest, you know, is better than a guest that stands up because they may come back and sit down again. So it's so, but yes, we are expected to clean, you know, all of the help, it is expected of you to help. The one thing that was a strange cultural shift for me in Iran, it is very impolite to ask someone to pass you something because they are not your servants. So if you want, and you're sitting around the table and, you know, the salt and pepper shaker are over there, you don't ask the person next to you to give it to you. You stand up from the table and go get it. And that was, I think, a little bit of a cultural hiccup, you know, for me. But it was me standing up constantly from the table that was more shocking from people who are sitting around the table. It's like, why don't you ask someone to pass it? It's like, because you know, they don't owe me service. So that was a little bit of a, I think, adjustment for especially because most of our socializing happens around food. So
That's a really good point. Yeah, a lot of our rituals and our bonding time happens around the table. Again, those little differences in etiquette are so fascinating. I'm just curious, going off script again, and anyone can answer this, but when you came to the United States from your home country, and Annalisa, I know you're from the States, but did you do any research on American culture? Or, I mean, I'm sure American culture is all over pop, you know, media and pop culture and all that, and you have access to movies and television and things like that. But did you read up on American customs or American etiquette or anything like that? Or is it
Not
just
really. Oh, go for it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, or was it kind of like trial by fire, you know, learn as you go type of a thing?
So my second time back was as an au pair in 2019. And because I had come for more than just 9 weeks, I wanted to be a little bit prepared. Also, I was living with people I've never met, so I wanted to be prepared. I didn't read into like the culture or anything because, like you said, it's all over the movies. I kind of expected to receive whatever I see on TV. However, the family was multicultural. The mom was Indian and the dad was American Presbyterian. So I wanted to do like a little bit of research on like the Hindu culture and how they express and receive and all that. Yeah, I didn't find anything significant that I can remember. It's just I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to freak out the grandparents. Maybe make sure I say hello to them properly, you know?
That is so considerate. That's amazing. Nice. Okay. Well, let's move on to so my final question, and then we'll kind of open it up to the audience to either ask their own questions or we'll do some reflection activities for the audience. But my final question for the panel is, what does gratitude mean to you personally, and how do you incorporate it in your daily life? And I will ask Annalisa first.
So, gratitude to me is basically showing those you love that you love them. So, people, but it is different to everyone, and you can either, you know, tell people how you feel and what they mean to you. You can show them through actions, like I said earlier, you know, cooking or little gifts or anything like that, letters. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, and I'm going to ask Roja next. And the question again is, what does gratitude mean to you personally, and how do you incorporate it into your daily life?
So I think it is the verbal expression is very important to me, even if the things that you are thanking is, I feel like you would think, especially in a professional setting, you would think, you know, why, you know, that's their job, you know, why would I need to thank them? So I always try to be very expressive on that because I feel that's important, and that's an important practice for me personally. And so that's that's one thing. And then the other part of it is a little bit of, again, meditative. I usually end my day by thinking of things that I'm grateful for. I haven't yet got to the stoic method of, even if something is horrible, you are grateful for. So I'm like, that's a practice that, changing your worldview or your point of view to that I'm working towards that. So I think it is a everyday practice and process, and it is good to think about the couple of things, the three things that it has worked for me. I would say that I have been grateful that day, and that can be something very simple, or something very profound.
Thank you. And Karen, same question for you. What does gratitude mean to you personally, and how do you incorporate it into your daily life?
Well, I recently I started this practice of journaling. Um, Not long ago, maybe like a year or two ago, to be more conscious about it. I think Roja at the beginning mentioned being aware, uh, being present, and more than of course more than the just expression, just the out loud saying thank you, is reflecting on the food that we have, the shelter that we have, the job, the clothing, the all the blessings that we have. Um, it's very easy to pile up uh, unfortunate circumstances that happen here and there, and we feel like we are overwhelmed with all this negativity. But I try to separate them and think of it not like as a I'm 10 points bad, but rather just like this is a 2 points bad. I still have 8 in the positive side. And this is 3 points bad. I still have 7 on the positive side. So I'm trying to take everything for the face value, to say it in a way, um, and yeah, being more present, more aware, that the world changes, our circumstances change, but we definitely can be thankful for what we have, be thankful that we are part of the society and that we're not alone anyways.
That's beautiful. That kind of reminds me of this sign that I used to have that said, every day may not be good, but there's good in every day. And I would always look at that when I was having a rough one and try to think about what good happened, even if it was a brief connection with the barista or a smile, between coworkers or a compliment someone paid me. So that's really beautiful. I like that a lot. It's good to always put things into perspective, right? Um, and then finally, Nikita, last but not least, what does gratitude mean to you personally, and how do you incorporate it into your daily life?
Thank you. I believe that gratitude is a practice that nurtures the mind. So we can walk around being grumpy and like look at all the negatives and then just feel negative and be a person nobody wants to be around. So the way I feel I try to practice gratitude daily, and it sounds probably kind of silly, but while I'm driving, because I know I could get road rage. So I practice it when I like see people. I think about the things around me. Going home now for Christmas for the first time in 6 years was a huge blessing, because I got to once. First of all, it was a huge culture shock, but that's a whole nother story. I got to experience a lot of things that's just part of my memory now, and I almost saw it in a new perspective with new eyes. So coming back here helped me appreciate what I have, um, especially coming from like a lot of hardships and going through a lot, living out of my car for a while. There's a lot that I've been through that helps me look back and be like, wow. So kind of keeping my back against that wall of like where I had almost nothing, and then looking at everything I have now and seeing how the people here in America have blessed me and walked with me. little things like just like hand-me-downs, like this t-shirt is a hand-me-down from my host kid. So it's little things like that that just throughout my day I get to remember and just almost meditate on it. Yeah, so I believe that practicing the little things will roll over into the bigger parts of life, which makes you just feel a little bit more confident overall, because why focus on shitty things if you can be thankful? Another way I do it is in the workplace, especially. I give my morning hugs and how's it. So every morning when I come into the office, I make sure I go to everyone, give them their hug, and that's kind of like how I express, like, "Hey, I'm thankful for you being here." It's that Ubuntu of "I am because you are," and I am here today because my host family took care of me, or because this. So I am because they are, and it's such a beautiful expression that I've gotten to share with them. And lastly, South Africa is very expressive, and so I am embracing that now, where in the past I wasn't, and I'm working on sharing that with my United States friends, especially because here we're a melting pot of cultures, and South Africa is too, with like 11 national languages and so many different cultures. I used to struggle with trying to figure out, okay, but why is it so diluted here when each culture can be highlighted? Where in South Africa, every single culture is highlighted and respected and appreciated. So I believe if I were to share, you can come in. If I were to share that, those embracing those little changes and sharing where I come from with my culture, we get to highlight one another's culture instead of dilute it.
That is so beautiful. I'm gonna have to stop by for my daily hug now. Do you have one more in you? One more? You can do
Yeah,
one
I
more?
always have extra hugs in me. Come
Okay.
by.
I'm gonna come by for my daily hug because that would just put me in a good mood for the day.
my first family made sure that their kids, they believe that kids need at least 12 hugs a day and adults 8, something like that. The number is around there. So when the kid comes to me at the end of the day, I'll ask them how many hugs they like didn't have, so I'll give them all the extra hugs. And I think it's the same for people, even if you're not a hugger, like hugs heal.
That's beautiful. You sound like a great coworker. Wow, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And then I see in the chat people have been talking about gratitude journaling. And Karen, I know that you mentioned this, and I know that is a practice that many people do to at the end of the day to reset for the evening, put themselves in a better headspace mentally. Um, do you all I know Karen you do, but and I do not have a journaling practice, but I'm just curious, Roja, Annalisa, and Nikita, do you have a journaling practice as well?
Culturally or personally?
Oh, sorry, personally.
Shall I go? Or who is going? Sorry.
You can, sorry, yeah, Roja, go ahead.
Um, yeah, again, my family is very, very much into writing. So yes, we all, since, I was very young, I was a kid, I had a journal and it had a lock, and the privacy of it was also very important for the, it was like, this is just for you. This is just between you and you, or you and your diary. So we did, however, were very naughty, and we wanted to see how my mom will think about us. So we would sneak into her journal. So it was really, we had a very archived, recorded life. So we would just sneak into her journal, but she knew that as for some reason. And she would write some things in code. So that was not something she was grateful to us for, but we did have that. And yes, the practice of writing and is again very meditative, and it's connected. And I think, I don't know how many other people really in Iran do actual diaries or journaling their days or their experiences, but yes, for me, I still do it.
That's really great. That's going to be a new goal for me, is to do some reflective journaling and
Especially
yeah.
writing it with the hand, I would say, because it's more tactile, as you know, you can
Yeah.
see the parts that I'm like, this was a stressful thing, because suddenly the handwriting is all over it. Like compositionally, you can decipher the mood that I was in.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's wonderful. Okay, so I want to open it up. We have several people here watching the panel, and I know you all have your own cultures, and even if you're American, you're still in a culture. So you have your own familial cultures, your own subcultures, regional culture, religious culture, perhaps. So one, I want to invite you to ask me or any of the panelists any questions you might have for the first part of this. So I'll open it up for questions first. You can go ahead and either put them in the chat, or there's a hand raise feature if you want to unmute and ask your question.
So Marie, there was a question in the chat by Maya, who stated like if there's any advice that you could give about journaling like more daily.
People who journal?
Yeah.
Karen?
Yeah. I wasn't. I always say this to everyone. I tend to be very succinct, and part of my journaling journey started to I try to express myself a little bit more, but as I started, it was just like bullet points. Like, I'm grateful for number one, this. Number two, I had a very yummy breakfast. Number three, my son had an A in math. Number four, I get to watch my favorite TV show. So it was just like very like succinct and to the point. And as you move into this, you start like adding a little bit more. I guess it's just a matter of practice. You will develop a little bit more. And more to that, it doesn't have to be written. You can just record yourself. There's plenty apps nowadays that you can just record your entry in the journal in your phone, and it'll either transcribe it or keep it as an audio, and that's it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. If you don't mind, I'd like to add to that. So my specifically towards your question, I myself don't see myself as a writer or a reader even at all. And so I wanted to get into the practice of journaling because I knew how beneficial it could be. It wasn't until 2021, I think, till one of my very artistic host kids came up with this idea, and it's called bullet journaling. She saw it somewhere on Pinterest. So anywho, it's like the paper has dots on it, and it takes away my ADHD mind. It takes away like the pressure of like needing to write anything. And so it creates this concept where you just put whatever you want on paper. So it took away the pressure of needing to be perfect, needing to have it one page full. And it's been years now. I have a ton of journals, and I'm thinking this is a crappy hobby I picked up because every time I move, I have a whole box of books. I don't know what to do with them. But it's so much fun, and you get to be creative. Like a lot of times some of it goes away from just being I am grateful for. It's tracking how much water you drink, or like tracking your workout intake. And it's something that I've kind of tweaked to whatever I want it to be, which allows me to look back at the pages that are like unfinished. And I used to be upset about them, but now it's part of like the art of growing through it, where like in the beginning of the journal it will be like all colorful and perfect, and then halfway through everything's like empty and in pencil, and you keep paging and it just like evolves. So I used to be mad about it, but now when I look at it, it's so beautiful because you get to see how you grow through it. Also, I love bullet journaling, so come by my office and we can talk more about it. But yeah, so it's such a fun journey. Don't be afraid. Don't buy a book that's too pretty. I feel like if you were to ask me any specific practical advice, do not get a notebook that's too pretty because you will end up not writing in it. So get one and just start writing whatever you want.
That's awesome. You know what? And I have a bunch of blank, just three ring binder journals that are lined paper. So I have a whole bunch. If you want to stop by my office, Estrella 233, you can have one. That'll be my gift to you. That's to anyone here. So thank you. Yeah, no, and as someone who is loves office supplies, that this has gotten me really excited because I'm thinking about the gel pens that I can buy. I'm thinking about getting some with scents, perhaps. I mean, just have a full sensory experience going on with the journaling. I'm excited. I'm going to do it. So I want to invite anyone else to ask a question if there is any question. And if not, I would like to just ask for a little bit of audience participation. And if you're not comfortable talking on mic, you can answer in the chat. And my question for you is, and I'll put it in the chat too, how has your cultural background shaped the way you express or understand gratitude? And have you ever encountered a different cultural perspective on gratitude that changed your own view? And I'm going to put that in the chat and see if we get any takers for this question. Just give people a minute to think, process.
Well, I was typing it out. I could just say it if you would like.
Sure.
So I recently started sharing my gratitude with other people. So how that was for me personally, because I haven't I'm not a very person who says thank you or love you or anything. So whenever I would just say thank you, I would say thank you, I appreciate you, and then I noticed that that got brought to everyone. So instead of being thanks, I'd be thank you, I appreciate it. I don't know, just the little things that people don't normally say, but it means something to someone who's having a bad day or something.
That's nice. Yeah. I appreciate you. I think that is a genuine nice thing to say. I remember saying that to a barista at Starbucks and she goes, I appreciate you. And it was just a nice little moment. And then we were like, everyone feels good. And now I have my coffee, so I feel even better. Miriam.
Yeah, so my cultural background is similar to Roja's in that we express gratitude by being hospitable to others, right? Especially our guest, family. And if you come and visit us, if you're in town, you have to come to our house, right? That's very expected. And through food, through helping them succeed, not just in whatever task that they're doing, but also in their career paths or in their relationships, always supporting each other. So, and that's something that I've continued to do. And one of the things that I've encountered here in the United States, like I mentioned earlier, is that idea of notes, right? That thank you notes that you were mentioning, Marie. I really liked it. I liked that somebody took the time and effort to mail me a thank you note. And that is something I'm implementing going forward because I feel like you can always increase in your gratitude, right? It doesn't hurt anyone, and all it does is spread more kindness and positivity.
Well stated. And I love that. We can borrow from other cultures, especially in practices that promote community and unity and love and solidarity in times that often don't seem very, well, turmoil times in turmoil. And Renee, I know you have your hand raised as well.
Well, it's funny because Miriam just said so many things that I was going to say. My cultural background is Italian, and so much of it is through food. Um, we we feed people, and that's how we show our gratitude um, and our love. You know, we love you, so we want to feed you. Um, so I find myself doing that, but also as the older I get, old, I find myself just like Miriam, just being a mentor to people and yeah, trying to celebrate their success and trying to guide them. And I see some of my former students here and some current students, and I know some of them have written some gratitude letters um, in former classes, and I don't know if any would be willing to share that experience. So I invite them if they want to talk about their experience of writing gratitude letters. What was that like for them? And now it's going to be just very quiet.
Well, your students are thinking, Renee, or Dr. Rude. Madison has her hand up.
Oh,
Hi. If it's all right, I'll go ahead. So I am half Mexican, half American, so my mom is from Mexico, and so I do have different values of gratitude from both sides of my family, but I wouldn't say I was super in tune with the Hispanic culture of gratitude until my mission. I served at LDS mission in North Carolina and was called to speak Spanish. And so I spent a lot of time with Latino communities there and learned a lot. And something that I loved was just the aspect of food and how important it is um, to show your gratitude by serving other people food. So as missionaries, we go around and we serve 24/7. We of course sleep at night, but the whole day is dedicated to teaching and serving. And so the members of our church as a sign of gratitude for what we did would feed us. They'd sign up to feed us since we were in a different place, far away from family. And I just noticed that the Latino families were just very generous with food. They wanted to bake us sweets, drop them off at our house, feed us dinner, invited us to different events where there would be food because they saw it as an offense if we weren't fed, which I thought was so sweet. And I learned a lot about how they express gratitude and also just how to incorporate food into more of how I express gratitude now. So I'm very grateful for that experience.
Thank you so much for sharing, Madison. And I'm sure that that mission experience was really transformational for you. Um, Joshua wrote in the chat that he wrote a letter of gratitude to his current boss, expressing appreciation and found that it was received so well. Aw, that they
Yeah,
started doing it. How sweet.
Dr. R remembered. Yeah, so I didn't know how he would receive it. And it turns out he's kind of an emotional guy, beyond the professional side. And it was received extremely well, but I didn't expect him to start tearing up, but I was completely open to it. And I would say that shapes me being just more open perspective instead of thinking everybody in the workplace is a robot. Hopefully that relates.
you will be the mentor next, Joshua.
Oh,
That's
big
awesome.
pressure.
That's awesome. Yeah, and in a world where things are being increasingly automated, and we are more and more treated like robots, I think that heartfelt human connection is really important. Probably touched him, made his day, week, month. I mean, I would cry too if someone. In fact, I have and this is a tip for anyone. I have a folder of a happiness folder of sweet emails people have sent me, sweet thank you notes, you know, little reminders of the people in my community and my life that make me feel good. And I bust that out when I'm having a bad day. So I totally recommend that practice as well. And I love people are writing in the chats. Let's see, as a Filipino, acts of service. I like that. Gift giving. Cut up some fruit. Love some fruit. Nice healthy gift. Vocally creating letters, reading it. Wow. Audio notes. Oh, that's so sweet. I love it. Starting a happiness folder today. Yes, you need a happiness folder. I absolutely support this. From Thank you, Rosa. Okay. Give them their time and effort. Well, I love all of this participation and learning from all of you. And I know we're over time by 5 minutes, and I want to be respectful of what else you have going on today. So I want to thank you, all of our lovely panelists, so much. Nikita and Elisa, Karen, Roja, and a big thank you to Miriam for monitoring our chat, and for Dr. Renee Rude for organizing the Week of Gratitude. And I want to thank all of you audience participants for tuning in this afternoon and learning from others, and also participating in the conversation. So thank you so much. We have such wonderful events planned throughout the week. Tomorrow we have a gratitude run and a keynote speaker at 10 a.m. And is that in Agave, Renee? In the Agave community room?
Yes.
So please come if you're available. It's going to be a great time.
And if you're interested in getting involved in any service learning directly after the event, it's not really part of the Week of Gratitude, but we will have partners on campus who are interested in having you volunteer with their organizations. So you can go to a volunteer fair and just walk around and learn more about the partners that partner with Chandler-Gilbert, and sign up to volunteer with our various partners. So lots going on this whole week on campus.
If I might popcorn into that. So that's my program. That's the people I work with. And so this volunteer fair is our first annual one. Since we have so many partners out there and so many different students with different like desires and ways they want to serve, we're inviting all these different kinds of nonprofits onto campus, so you guys can actually get to see who you want to work with and what opportunities are out there. Some might even lead into internships, no promises, but definitely come check it out. There is a movie passes that we'll be handing out, so come by. It's going to be great. I'll be there. I would love to see you all there. I might like hand out free hugs.
I'm getting mine tomorrow. I'm coming for you. That's not a threat.
But definitely check out our speaker, Joshua Becker. He's a minimalist. We're going to have probably some food at the event, beverages. There might be some books or some books eventually for giveaway. So, but he's awesome to hear. So definitely come out. 10 o'clock in Agave. Hope to see you there.
Yes. See you all there tomorrow. And yeah, thank you again for attending, and I hope you found this event helpful and inspirational. I know I did. I learned so much. So and please make sure you sign the attendance if you're trying to use this for credit in any way. So thank you, and yeah, I'm gonna leave you all there.